Good morning, students. We resume the lecture of the chapter Understanding Marginalization. Yesterday's lecture I told you about the Adivasis, the key features, how did they live, and there's no hierarchy system in their community. Everything was told how they live in the forest and how they were checked out from there. Everything was discussed. Now let's focus on how these people were marginalized and how did they suffer. Firstly, when the word Adivasis comes forth, so the only image what we have in the mind is somebody from jungle and not wearing clothes and roaming around, and they have wrapped around their body the barks of the trees or the leaves and dancing at the tunes of the drums and all, and then a bonfire, and that's the image what comes to your mind. A common human being would think in this way only, because they've been portrayed in that way. The comic which has been printed in your book also raises this issue. Every time we speak about an Adivasi, we speak only about the performances of dance and living in a hut and all. Only that is portrayed. So this kind of a portrayal, a wrong portrayal, actually leads to stereotype type of thinking. Now stereotype thinking makes us believe that these people are backward people, they're illiterates, they don't have any knowledge, they are not open to changes, they would not adapt to anything, they would adhere to their old methodology only, and they would not progress in any form. This kind of these kind of thoughts come to us because we have trained ourselves to think like this because of their portrayal of these people, the way they have been represented in the society, which is actually wrong. This kind of stereotype of mentality is actually marginalizing them without even knowing the facts about these people. Now let's see how did they live, and what were their plus points, and how did they get marginalized, and what was the effect on them. Now reserves of the forest, if you speak about, forest is a vast reserve. Like there are so many things you can get from forest. You can get minerals, deposits of iron ore, of gold. There's so many things which can be procured from the forest. Teak, rubber, and the medicinal herbs. It's a habitat for the animals. So many things like Ayurveda, everything depends upon the forest. And these people, the Adivasis, were the protectors of the forest because they used to live there and it was a source of livelihood for them. If it is a source of livelihood, they used to worship also, as well as they used to protect their environment also. So may whatsoever be the resource, you will be amazed to hear that these Adivasis did not depend upon the kings for their protection. Instead, kings used to depend upon them for their protection. They knew the forest well, throughout the entire jungle. They knew through and through what they were capable of from the forest. So the kingdoms actually depended upon the Adivasis for the knowledge they possessed about the forest. They were so good in the knowledge of taking out remedies for cures and remedies for various diseases or various ailments, depending upon the usage of the herb from the forest. And in the forest, everything is in the purest form. We don't need pesticides, we don't need fertilizers to put in the forest over there for something to grow. Everything is so natural, that is why it is so effective. So this knowledge was possessed only by the Adivasis. Now, what we like in the earlier chapter also we have like in the this one, the Birsa Munda chapter also, I discussed with you that these believed in they were shifting cultivators. Like one part of the land they would take up for agriculture, and then when that would go a little bit less fertile, they would leave the land. They would firstly cut off the trees and clear the land for the agriculture, and then when that would not remain fertile, a little less fertile when compared to that, they would leave it for the natural growth to occur over there so that the fertility of the soil is regained, and then they will move away. Moreover, they used to depend upon the resources of the entire forest. All this knowledge was given to us earlier also. And then they were hunter-gatherers. They used to rely upon, like if certain people wouldn't like to move from one place to another for agriculture, they stayed in one place and they saw to it that that if the land remains fertile by all natural means. So they had so much of knowledge about the place. Now, how did they get marginalized is the question. Now, here comes the actual criminality of the Britishers. Firstly, they initiated this process. They tried to gain control over the resources of the forest. They wanted to keep that control over the forest so that they could use the resources within the forest. So, as I said, these Adivasis were forced to give away their land, and those who did not give by treason or by brutality, they were told to give away their land. Now, once these people were chucked off from the forest, their downfall began. Now, what were the reasons? What could have been the reasons now also that the Adivasis have been taken off, deprived of their own property? Now, firstly, you need to understand, if you have to extract things from a land, that land needs to belong to you first. So the government took away the lands for mining purpose from the Adivasis, and once they succeeded in doing so, they started extracting minerals from there. That was one of the reasons. Mining was one of the reasons. Setting up of industries was another reason. Now, industries, as I said when I taught you geography, was based on raw materials also, and then the source of the raw material, if the industry would be set up close to, then it would be easy for the industry to process the raw material into the finished product. So setting up of industries also was one of the reasons for the Adivasis being marginalized. Dams, when they were built, when the dams were built and the water was obstructed, the surrounding areas, land went under the water, and these lands belonged to the Adivasis. They used to rely upon this source. That was a source of livelihood for them. They had huge open spaces to live. They had their houses over there. Maybe kacha house, doesn't even matter, but they had a very vast space to live. And they never used to live under conditions where they were forced to live in dingy places or small places. So that was one of the reasons, the construction of dams. Wildlife sanctuaries, when government decided that this particular area is to be protected for the wildlife, government itself moved away the Adivasis from there, because if the wildlife had to be given the freedom to move around in that particular area, then humans intrusion was not allowed. So government took away the land because of this wildlife sanctuaries also from the Adivasis. In Northeast, certain areas of the Adivasis are actually connected with the the international boundary. So when it is an international boundary, it has to be protected. So those areas have been militarized. That means it's under military control, and wherever there is military control, people can't live over there. Civilians can't live over there. So there also people were chucked off. The Adivasis were moved away because of the military people taking over, because of protection of the nation is first priority on the list. Now, because of all these reasons, they were either forced to sell away the land, or they were told to move away, or they were told that they would be given certain jobs or not. Didn't happen, that thing never happened. Now, why did they fall so easy? Why did they get marginalized so easy? Because, as I said earlier also, once people start sidelining you, your confidence goes down and you stop fighting for your rights. So the moment you stop fighting for your rights, there comes your downfall. So these Adivasis thought, might be the other people are right and we are not that correct. So they gave up. Because they gave up their source of livelihood, they had to migrate to cities, to areas surrounding over there. and for petty jobs they had to do away with petty jobs. Now if you have a petty job, you'll have less wages, that will lead to poverty, and you will be deprived of things in your life. Those people who used to live like kings of the jungles over there, of the forests over there, now had to live in kacha houses, in slum areas, and then again get marginalized by the society at a whole new level. Earlier it was at some, I would say, a little lesser level when compared to people now. Now these people, when they come to get jobs also, because they are like, as soon as you say I am a tribal or I am an Adivasi, then you won't get much salaries. Maybe you're educated or not educated, doesn't matter at all. So because of this poverty and all, these kids which take birth, who take birth in this community, they are malnourished, they don't get proper nutrition, their mothers don't get proper nutrition when they conceive these children, and then these people's children are on to the verge of death as soon as they take birth. Might be it's a matter of few months. They don't survive because they don't have much food to eat. So they suffer a lot. This is how the society has marginalized Adivasis step by step, slowly, moving them away from the mainstream and totally shattering the confidence and the standard of living of these people. But remember one thing, if something is changed, then it will have its effect on the entire society. So when marginalization takes place, like this is example of Adivasis, there are more to come in the chapter. When marginalization takes place, it has an effect on the entire society. Somewhere down the line, we are actually creating an imbalance in the society. So in my next lecture, I am discussing about the marginalization process of the other communities. How did the marginalization take place and what was the effect of it? Thank you.